Writers, agents, and publishers, for the first time since the Gutenberg Press, find themselves lost in a maze of mystery as technology alters the shape of the publishing industry. Searching for Answers is a group of writers throwing pop culture, writing, and publishing into a crucible of clarity, passion, and humor. This group is the Write Pack. Welcome back to Write Pack Radio and the first episode of the second season. This is your host, David Allen Lucas, author of mystery, science fiction, horror, and right now I've got a serial out there that's just for fun called Skittles, the Feline Colonist to Mars. You can just find it on my website. It's completely free.
With him today is co-host Kathleen Kayembe, paranormal, romance, and urban fantasy writer under the pen name Kaseka and Vita.
I'm Jennifer Stolzer. I am a children's book author and illustrator. My self-published novel, Dog Bark, is available on Amazon. Please check it out.
I'm Matt McGraw. I'm an amateur short story writer, and I'm also working on a picture book called Patrick the Spider, which is coming ever so tantalizingly
Yeah, how's them
close.
queries going, Matt?
By the way, if you haven't heard, Patrick the Spider is a not-for-children's picture book.
It's a not for children's book.
Brad R. Cook. I write historical fantasies. My steampunk novel, Iron Horseman, is out now. Check it out. And other than that, I do a lot of other writing stuff.
I'm Melanie Quillaney. I write science fiction, fantasy, and nonfiction. And
Fedora Amos. I write historical fiction, historical mystery specifically, like Jack the Ripper in St. Louis, which is out. And I'm president of Greater St. Louis Sisters in Crime.
And today's topic is going to be about the toys of tomorrow. We're going to talk about some of the stuff that we've been promised as writers that might be coming out. Some of the stuff that is out, and some of the stuff that's supposed to be coming out for all people in general.
Flying cars?
Yes, we will have a future Coruscant, the home of the most mid-air collision.
Driverless cars. Google's driverless car is a couple of years away. So
And you're really not kidding.
we'll have no one to yell at now.
I'm actually looking forward to that.
I am horribly frightened of that.
Talking about that, the latest edition of Nature, which is a science magazine, has a centerfold, like a better word of calling it. It's not quite in the center of the Google car. And I look at this picture, and it's 4 passengers in the car. The driver and the person who would be sitting next to the driver have their chairs turned inside the car, facing backwards, leaning back, and the chair is almost on top of the steering wheel. And I look at this and go, oh, God, that's scary. 'Cause, no offense, I don't care how good Google cars will be or the automated cars will be. I would want a driver, at least they're ready to grab the wheel in case something goes wrong.
My motion sick aunt has thrown up at the sound of that illustration.
The driver will never see what hit him.
True.
oh, speaking of nature, now just for a prestige thing, that might be one of my not necessarily completely unattainable, but very unlikely life goals. I mean, getting an article in Nature, being an author on it, is kind of the equivalent of making it to the A-list of actors in Hollywood.
Said the scientist of the group. Okay. We have lots of tools as a writer today that we were promised years ago, and now they exist. I'm not sure they're all great.
I'd like to bring up the laptop and the internet.
Those are great.
Yeah.
Well, let me rephrase that. The laptop is fantastic in my book.
Indeed.
Yes.
The internet is a great tool in my mind of research.
You love it, admit it.
I do love it. I hate the distractions of it, though.
It is a double-edged sword.
But is that the internet's fault, David?
That's not the internet's fault.
That is my fault.
Just because it's there all the time doesn't mean you have to dip your cup in constantly, but it does because we all have Facebook.
Yes.
I'm going to check my Tumblr now.
Yes.
Let me ask something.
Let me tweet that.
Actually, before you do, let me throw out one aspect to it, too, of internet that's kind of scary. It has made research fantastic, made it a lot easier, but it's also helped spread the false information. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's true. And I wanted to ask, does everybody here write on their laptop? Is that
Sometimes.
actually the
I
case?
do.
Not all
Yeah.
the time, but yeah.
Anybody
raise your hands,
doesn't
guys,
use
I
it?
can't
I use a desktop.
Well, I mean, it's still a
Desktop-er.
computer.
Good to know.
Yeah.
See, I
I'm
like
just-
the ability to carry my book anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that I can jump into a coffee shop, I can sit in a park, I can go anywhere, and the entirety of my stuff is contained there. I used to have like notebooks and stuff that I would write in.
Yeah.
I stopped doing that because I had to carry those notebooks with me everywhere I went to. So now it's entirely contained in a laptop and then completely backed up in case something happens to that laptop.
Do you
Best.
find it's like different though how you write in between that notebook and that laptop?
Yes.
Yes.
I actually prefer writing on a computer because my handwriting is horrible, and so coming back to reread it is really not going to be a good, helpful thing. And then that process of rewriting it, like once, a second time, I really do prefer just composing on a computer.
Me too.
And I'm with you. on
Yeah,
that.
I'm far too indecisive, so
Yeah.
I like the ability to
And that's even
to
going
marquee out a bunch of stuff, copy, paste into another document, and start without it instead of scratching it out and then rewriting it in later. You can move stuff around.
And-
Everything feels a lot more fluid and plastic.
for the youngins out there, when we had to you had to just insert it, so you'd actually have to retype entire pages like it was a typewriter or something.
Oh, I've got you beat. Go ahead.
The tools in Word programs are amazing, and one of my favorites is spell check.
Yeah. Oh, God,
This
yes.
is very different from autocorrect.
Well, let me go ahead and jump right in here because this
Spell
fits into what you said and what Brad's saying, and that is, I tried writing in notebooks. I still do from time to time. My handwriting is so horrid. In first grade, I started learning how to type on a manual typewriter. Then you got spell check. Thank God, because when you screw up spelling on a manual typewriter, you're retyping the whole page with your corrected spelling and hope you don't make a different typo.
I was going to say that, spell check is wonderful, but grammar check is also useful. But you have to use it intelligently,
Right.
because 9 times out of 10, I might, for some reason, especially for scientific papers, Microsoft Word thinks a lot of things are run-on sentences when they are perfectly valid sentences. But if you just look for the green squiggly lines, you say, reread this to make sure it's okay.
Well, Microsoft Word has a limited knowledge, and I think science is beyond it.
Well, it's not that. It's when you use complex grammar. So if you're using apple and oranges, or apple and orange, rather, it'll look at the orange and say that should be singular, when it's really apple and orange. So that's plural. So
Okay.
Word is a tool that is flawed.
yes,
It is.
There are
let's-
some
Its
words in
default
there.
setting is the one thing that no one uses. The entirety of the entire world uses Times New Roman 12.5.
Oh yes.
Double,
Arial,
all of
Yeah.
this, and yet its default is set to Calibri 10 point and all
That's
this stuff.
because that's a Microsoft font.
Nobody
Yeah.
uses it.
But real quick,
Still,
even
user-friendly
though
would be nuts.
spell check has improved in that, it's definitely about 80 to 90% correct. You always still want to check it behind it. Brad, I'm going to let you go with something after I say one thing, and then I've got a question to follow your question real fast. A few years back when Bill Clinton was president, and people were not exactly happy with him as president, but I'm not getting into politics. I'm just giving you the time frame. Spell check, or the thesaurus on Microsoft Word, if you typed certain words, it would come up with Bill Clinton as the option. Or if you typed Bill Clinton, it would come up with certain other phrases. And that has been changed, but that was back in that day.
Wow.
So that tells you sometimes you can't always trust what's in there. Go ahead.
That's called the programmers having fun.
Yeah. And get
So
over
we
it.
keep talking about yesterday, but this is the toys of tomorrow.
Right. And
So I'm going to throw out the one thing that I really am kind of hoping for and looking for,
okay.
and that is holographic books. Books, we all had, okay, so you all read, maybe I'm a middle grader here, so, middle grade writer here. But we all read books when we were kids that had pictures of them. You'd be reading, and then there'd be that black and white, picture of
I'm familiar
either
with the
something that
picture book,
happened.
yes.
Yes, you are very familiar with the picture book.
Yes.
But anyway, so that illustrated book, I think would work beautifully in all genres. From the romance novel where you would be able to see the hot leading man and actually see the, like, you know, joyful, happy ending and stuff. Now, not a movie.
No, I'm with
But
you.
literally, like, text displayed so I can read it, and it's just right there in front of me, and I just, you know, sit there and flip it by whenever I want. You know, and I'm talking Star Wars holographic technology here. So I want to set something down, and it shoots it up in front of me. And then as I read, you know, maybe some, like, you know, if I'm reading, like, I don't know, a Curious George book or something, then, well, I guess that's a picture book, so that wouldn't count because that's all visual. But as I'm
Nancy
reading
Drew
along,
book.
you know, like, yeah, Nancy Brew book or any of those kind of fun ones, you know, and then all of a sudden you see the image come up and pop by. You get to see it. Then you get to move it on and keep reading. Be awesome.
Oh, Brad, you are so wrong. Where is the imagination in this? I mean,
what I was
it's
gonna say.
great
No.
for a
You still
little
get
bit of
the
it,
words.
maybe, but for goodness sake,
You put an
a
image
whole
on the
book?
cover.
Just the cover. Is that
No,
what
but
you're
that's
saying?
you're missing the point. It's not
Oh.
about it's about giving. It's about enriching. We live in a visual medium now, and books
I
are the
know.
words are
And your
wonderful. And I'm not talking about
imaginations are
getting rid of
getting
words.
shriveled
What I'm
like
talking about
tiny,
is not
tiny
you still have your
souls.
imagination.
Brad, I think what made me object to what you said was the example you used. You said the romance hero's face, and I was like, why would you do that?
No
Because
way.
the romance hero's face, if your face in your head is different and then that face pops up, you're like, imposter, I hate
Well,
everything.
now I'm kind of curious what each one of your toys would be for tomorrow.
Oh, I have one.
Like,
set
get
up.
off my
Throw it out.
toy. What's your toy then?
I think the illustrations are good for some things, just the romance heroes and heroines, main characters, maybe not.
Okay.
It would be
Like
great fun
creepy
for
houses.
a mystery story where you get to see the scene of the crime.
Or the
Yeah.
evidence.
yeah,
Yes.
that kind of thing.
Limited
That would be
things,
good.
yes.
Illustrated manuscripts have been a thing since the beginning of the
Not
book.
very much. Come on. I just gotta have that imagination.
but what do you-
Illuminated
Don't limit
manuscripts and the
people's
Bibles and stuff that
imagination.
All
have-
right, ding, ding, ding.
Okay,
Objected
but,
Is dying
specifically
over
for your
there.
example. That's all.
but this has actually been talked about by Kendall, I think. Or I think it was Kendall and Nook have talked about it. And
Yeah,
I'm still
ignore
missing the
Nook.
chance I get to ask the question backwards. But they've also talked about installing in the book theme music to fit the scene that you're reading, which in some
Bleh.
cases may
That's
scare
getting
me.
muted.
Yeah, and then they've talked about having, I don't know how the heck this would work, but as you are reading a certain passage, it would release a scent.
Smell-o-vision?
Smell-o-vision.
Smell-o-vision.
And it's like really
The
people-
hero's shirt comes off, and suddenly you smell roses.
Oh,
It didn't
Or-
work
no,
in
actually-
the movies.
I can tell you the least popular book of that era will be the one that takes place in a garbage dump.
Yeah.
I would
They're
love to write
searching.
that.
They're searching
Actually
for
was-
clues.
What would be
Go through the
scary?
dumpster.
Yeah.
What would be scary? Using what you just said, Matt. The male lead character takes off his shirt, and next thing you have is the smell of Ralph Lauren or Davidoff or whatever. Whoever paid
Armpit? What?
the
Axe
company who
body
paid the
spray.
most
Oh.
to support your book. Think
Good
about it
job
for a second.
thinking marketing.
Oh.
You're going to sell this with
Yeah.
a marketing plan behind
I
it.
hope not.
That's disgusting.
Well, I was just to back up to things that actually exist and I hope are better in the future. Voice recognition software.
Yes.
Okay, that's one I want to talk about too.
Yeah.
Let me jump back to that one. I want to get
Okay.
back to Matt's original question about notebook versus computer.
Oh, well, I have one about Brad's, though. I like...
Yeah, we
They're not-
didn't get a
they're
chance
not
to talk
done.
about our plan. So let's make a ledger here.
By the way, audience, if you get the idea that I ever had control of this, you were clearly
Mistaken.
drinking or smoking something.
I think there's a saying, no plan survives contact with battle. And it's
No.
certainly true here.
That's
No
for
male plan
gamers,
survives
too.
contact with
I
you.
like
no
that.
GM's plan survives
No
contact
plan
with players.
survives contact with
But
battle. I'm writing that down.
something that I like that is kind of along the lines of what Brad was mentioning before is ebooks that have, like, not Easter eggs, but, like, you'll get to a certain scene and it'll be a picture book and you'll be going through it, an interactive picture book. There we go. Interactive picture books where you can, like, interact with the scene in question and find things for the detective or whatever. Things like that are so cool.
Like what's in that drawer?
Yes. And then the story continues because you've found what it's looking for.
Sounds like a game.
It's
Yes,
an
but,
it's
like,
an
it's
interactive
it's a novel
book.
game.
Yeah.
It's a
interactive.
blurring of the genre.
It's kind of like
Which is
choose your
my
own
favorite thing
adventure,
ever.
only more directed.
Yes. You don't die every time you choose anything. You just get to read more when you get the right thing.
I like that idea. What I really want for my future world, I want a better means of archiving handwritten and hand-drawn documents.
Yes.
Because I'm a journaler. I have journals dating back from the first day of freshman year of college. That was when I started journaling. And I have probably 3 dozen journals. I go through at least 4 a year, writing down just stuff that happens in my life, things that I thought was valuable, experiences that I can learn from later, thinking into the future when I'm super famous and my great-grandchildren find these and write a biography about me. Who knows what they're going to be good for. But they are huge, and they are unwieldy, and they're not being used every single day, but I don't want to throw them out. I would love to archive them, but I don't want to pay a lot of money for some guy to rip all the pages out and scan them, nor do I want to sit there for 17,000 hours and photograph every page. I wish there was a faster, easier way to just maybe shine a light over a page, just go zip, 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 and archive an entire spiral notebook in a minute and a half.
I think
that
there is
exists
a
right now, actually.
How much is it?
It's actually kind of expensive.
That's what I was afraid of.
Just wait a few years, it'll come down. But yeah, they totally have hand scanners where you can just run it over the page.
Right, a
And
CPM is
yeah.
only line by line,
Yep.
but they'll do it for a whole page.
Yep. Yeah, they have it. They use it a lot in like tech world, and
Because I really need it
like
to be
a wand. It's like this long.
It's like I don't want I have a scanner because I'm
I
an
agree.
artist. I do
I would love to be able
scanners.
to-
I know that these things, the technology exists, but what I want is for it to be easier, faster, computation time being nothing. I hate what slows it all down is the inability to just keep going. You have every time you scan a page, you have to stop and save the page in a folder. And then
You
have to
would,
scan another page. And you stop
you
and
would be
save the
amazed
page.
how fast really fast computers are. If you could afford the $5,000 computer, then you wouldn't have any complaints.
It's
6
either
months
that
from now, I'm gonna
or-
have to pay another $5,000 to be fast again.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's a
the point is to have like an image capture
exactly.
on like a just something that's like a little bot that sits above my head that just records everything I do or something.
If you started a little later in life, you could have just used like a tablet, and just done your handwriting on the tablet.
That's
the kids
not-
today have
That's
it so
why we can't
easy.
go with back to
that's
what
not the
original
same thing.
joke.
We had paper.
I know you've got your hand up. That's part of what. That's kind of what I was trying to get us back to.
Kathleen, sorry,
So go ahead,
Kathleen.
Kathleen, and then I'm hoping at some point I can segue back to that question I had a long time ago.
I want something similar to what Jen mentioned, but that transcribes my writing.
See?
I hate transcribing so much.
That
and I
exists
love
too, and
journal
it's
writing.
about 99% accurate for people with good handwriting. But
That's a big for if.
yeah, well, not only that, but
Also, you
99% accurate isn't nearly as accurate as it sounds. That's at
No.
least 3 mistakes per page.
Yeah, so I want something that will do that because I have stories and journals that I have not transcribed because I hate transcribing things. It takes so long. And so I just love something that would just do that for me so I could write either on the computer or by hand and not have to worry about doing the translation work later.
And it needs to be smart enough to be able to read in multiple directions.
Yes,
So let me take
and
this.
editing marks.
So let me run with this for a moment. I know we still have voice recognition to get to. I haven't forgotten yet.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go back to the meat of Matt's question, which at the beginning, writing in a notebook versus a laptop computer or desktop. And let's take this. Let's look at that for a moment, and then take this to the future. And I'm going to ask you a question. We've gone in some of our lifetimes of people sitting around this table, including me. We've gone from manual typewriters to electric typewriters to word processing programs where you had to go back and retype an entire page at times, to things like Microsoft Word and its similarities. Now we've got tablets or software devices that you can handwrite on the tablet and it translates your words. It doesn't do me very well. I fall outside that 99% for those who have got good handwriting. Mine makes doctors and lawyers cry.
It's not 99%.
Yeah. And then you've got touchscreen typing, which personally I don't like. But
My mom uses it all the time for some strange reason.
what do you guys think would be the next step? Or what step would you like to see next?
Wearable computers.
Wearable computers, okay.
So, for instance,
We have a space watch in the room.
We do.
Well, true, but no, actually, no, what I was thinking of, for instance, you wear a glove that isn't too hot, because, of course, this is future technology, and instead of actually typing on a board, you just wiggle your fingers, and that's the equivalent of choosing letters or typing.
Oh, man, I can't imagine the typos that would result out of that, though.
If you're good, actually, the idea is...
Yeah, that's a big if.
Can I get rid of the typing part? Can it just like plug in my brain and I think,
See, that's
once
what
upon
I'm
a time,
looking
and then it pops up on the screen once
I'm
upon
not
a
good
time.
at dictation, though.
I don't want to dictate. I just want it to
It's
pop out of
illegal
my
dictation.
brain.
It's
Because I'm sitting there
actually-
thinking about it, and then I got to type it out.
But, like, do you think in full sentences? Because I don't. I think in, like, images, and then I pick
well,
words.
no,
as
but
it
eventually when I
goes.
type it out, I might create. Yeah,
Okay,
you'd have to have,
actually-
like,
This is an
Yeah.
area
a
that I've
button
actually...
to click, kick my memory now.
You'll actually have appointments like filtered into the text too, because you'll think about other things while you're writing.
I've
Exactly.
actually looked into this. I went
Once
to...
upon a time, I had to get a gallon of
Yeah.
milk.
I went to a speaker about a man that was actually developing treatments for people with MS and people that couldn't move, basically. So the mental power computers. The idea is, though, if someone has epilepsy, one of the treatments for epilepsy, severe epilepsy, you actually go to the hospital, they cut open their skull, they expose their brain, and they put a bunch of scanners on their brain,
Okay.
and then they wait for the person to have a seizure. So they can tell exactly where the damage is, so they can remove that part of the brain and not anything else.
Thanks for the horror story.
But the point is, these people can be sitting there with their brains and the sensors on their brains for like a week, 2 weeks. And during that
Boring.
time, exactly. So guess what? The researcher gets to do experiments that he would never be allowed to do otherwise, because these people are bored and they're already doing the dangerous stuff for a medical reason. So the idea is you set up sensors and you have the recordings are already going out for these sensors.
So sign on the dotted line so I can stick more things.
So
in.
scientists are
That's
jerks.
just it.
Yeah.
You don't have
It's
to
named Frankenstein.
You don't have to stick anything new in. It just records what's already there. So you can try and you train them to like, okay, lift up your left shoulder. Look, we get a little blip that now we can train the computer to use it. So now every time you lift up your left shoulder, the cursor's going to move to the right. Oh, lift up your finger. And for one subject, by the way, it ended up the best signal they got was from the middle finger. Like,
He used it often.
yeah. But then the sensor went to the left. And then after some training, don't lift your shoulder anymore. Just imagine lifting your shoulder. But the point is, the best subject, this was only about, 10 subjects, but the best person that got at this, he said, well, yeah, at some point, I was like, I'm not thinking about moving my shoulder anymore. I'm just thinking I want the cursor to move to the right, and it moves to the right. When it moved to the left, it moves to the left. So he was moving a cursor with his mind.
Well,
So
oh,
Just
you're
real quick,
good
I'm
at
just going to make
things.
2 statements, and I'm going to let you have it, Jen.
Okay.
Number one, first off, did anybody else in the room notice that the one person that's super excited about this was a scientist?
Yeah.
Okay,
The rest of us
I
were
think you're writing the
grimacing.
wrong
I wasn't
genre.
grimacing. I thought it was
Frankenstein
cool.
really comes to mind. And then the other statement I've got is the future Ernest Hemingway, the Borg writer.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jen.
I was gonna say that I've actually experienced a form of what you were saying. Everyone, I hope, in this room has experienced a little bit of it, but as an artist, I use a drawing tablet, and lots of people have trouble moving from drawing with pencil and paper to a tablet because unlike some tablets nowadays, like drawing on an iPad, you're still drawing on the pad. I started using this back when you had a peripheral. You draw on the pad, but you're looking at the computer screen, and that disconnect was hard for a lot of people to bridge. But once you train yourself to do it, it's as easy and natural as anything else. You forget that you ever couldn't do it. I upgraded my technology a few years ago. I got a different sized tablet, and I got a different sized computer with a different screen size, and suddenly the dendrites that had braided together in my brain no longer connected quite properly, because when I put my stylus down on the pad, it did not appear where I expected it to appear on the screen, and I had to retrain myself to use the new technology. And as weird as it is, you could almost feel it working.
Yeah,
you could
but-
feel your brain rewiring.
But
the way
imagine
it
in the
goes.
future, you're wearing glasses, let's say, that project. Now, I'm thinking that people with the implants to do mental stuff would probably start out, at least for people that actually couldn't, paralyzed, can't move. But for the rest of us, you could wear glasses that project the 3D images in front of you, and then you have gloves on, so you could, just move things around in the air, and you're seeing them, and it looks like you're touching things
I've
to
always
you.
wanted,
Yeah.
I've always wanted to have a GPS director where the the symbol would actually appear within my field of vision. You know, turn here, this specific lane, this specific
Follow
location.
this green arrow. See that turn?
Exactly.
It's actually the right corner.
I mean,
They could
that would
just
probably
lay it out.
distract you from the other drivers around you, most likely, but... Is that any worse than looking down at your phone or looking up at a gizmo that's glued on your dashboard? I always wanted to have that as part of the windshield, maybe, or
Well,
something.
we do this in fighters. I still don't
Yeah,
understand
HUDs.
why I don't have a HUD. I mean, literally, I've been wondering this for 20 years.
Heads-up display.
Heads-up display.
HUD, heads-up display.
That's
Yeah,
more or
it's a
less what I
military
was...
term.
Or you can just get a Google car and not drive anywhere.
Yeah.
Just put the address in.
I
Yeah,
don't
I-
want to be in a Google car.
I just don't want. I just don't want to follow the
You could
directions
write and
right off
draw
the cliff.
while you're driving.
But the guy next to me is driving his own car, and he's going to swerve straight into my car, and who's not going to be looking
gonna
up?
be like a bumper car.
Well, okay. I think the Google car is a
Roll
great
cage.
idea. I just don't want to be among the first wave to have them.
Yeah.
Like, let them get all the kinks out first.
When everyone
to
else
start
has
out, it's
one,
going to be
I'll
like a
get one.
taxi, like an Uber. So Google's announced that they're going to do like an
I
Uber
just-
type thing,
I
where they're
don't-
going to start having their driverless cars drive people around. So you're just going to call up a car service and be like, "I need a car."
What's an Uber?
Oh, an Uber is a car
like a
service. that
ride-share
exists- Yeah, it's a
service.
ride-sharing service.
It's like, as long as I am in a car without a driver, sharing a road with a car with a driver, user error exists, and I don't want to put myself in a vulnerable position.
Yes, but we can't just dictate. We're not that kind of society where we can just say you have to now get a driverless car. Everybody.
Exactly.
The idea of a driverless car, and then I can hear a voice in my head saying, "I'm sorry, Dave. I can't let you out of this car this time, Dave."
The minute
It's
the
right, that's
car
kinda scary.
achieves self-awareness,
This is why
we
we
have
should not
problems.
give it. Like I already think of my cars as being alive. The minute it has a voice and can start talking back to me,
I
oh,
enjoy
no.
driving for humans, Dave.
Yeah,
Real
we're
quick,
going off the cliff. Dave.
going back, exactly. Which, by the way, GPS for a while didn't always work as good as it is right
That
now.
too. I've
Which is
driven through
scary,
many
yes.
cornfields by accident on the GPS that were perfectly good
Well,
roads in real life.
Perfect example. I was going over to a person who I knew. I won't quite call her a friend at the time, but myself and someone else were going there. We're following GPS, and we're following the turns and following the turns and following the turns, and we ended up outside of the St. Louis Zoo. I know GPS had that one wrong. But going back to something, Brad, you were talking about, having the computer read your brain and write. How many of us would love to have something like that, especially as we're trying to fall asleep and suddenly
Oh, yeah.
the muse talks to us and says, "Oh, and now this is how this story's supposed to go." Blah, blah, blah. It's like, I'd love to just be able to hit a record and record it. Go ahead.
You know what would be great? Leave it on, go to sleep.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Have it transcribe your dreams.
Oh, there you go.
Exactly.
I don't even want to know.
It would be the most confusing mess. Of
Oh, I would
nonsense
totally
ever,
do it, but I'd be scared every morning when I woke
Yeah.
up to see what it
To
said.
read the
would be
transcript
scary.
of the dream last night.
Some publishing company will publish it for you. I can guarantee it.
Oh my gosh.
Now they
yes.
won't publish our stream of consciousness. It'll be somebody else's, somebody
Yeah.
famous, and
Yeah.
you know.
This is what Stephen King dreams.
Channing Tatum's stream of consciousness as he sleeps.
Exactly. There will be a Kardashian stream
Sell
of
it.
thought.
Sell it
That's
to the
pretty
middle-aged
simple.
ladies.
Is it a
that
sex
love
dream
it.
or a
sex
No,
dream?
yeah, it'll be sex. Oh, those shoes look good. Let's buy this dress. Sex. Okay.
I feel so objectified.
I was talking about Kardashian. I wasn't talking about you.
No, the Kardashians are thinking
Money?
money,
Yeah, I forgot the money part.
money, appearances, paparazzi. Who's my husband sleeping with?
Who am I
So
sleeping
they're
with?
pretty much exactly what we see on the television. We don't need them to record it. They already do.
Can I go into what Melanie was talking about?
Perfect. VOR?
No,
Oh.
medical marvels.
Okay.
I would love a tonic or a pill or just something I could stick into my neck that would take out my ego and my anxiety for like a set amount of time so that I could write and not have the internal critic being like, you can't write that, you
Oh.
can't write
Yeah,
that.
if I-
Try
someone who's-
DMT.
DMT.
Yeah, it's a disassociative.
You need to find a pusher that deals in pills, and you will have all this you need.
Yeah, these things exist. They're
I
just
don't want
illegal.
something that alters my brain. I want something that takes that particular switch in my brain, turns it
You don't want
off.
something that alters your brain. You want something that alters your brain.
No, I want something like what Melanie was saying. These the points in the brain were able to be identified that sent out these signals.
Yes,
I
but
want
it wasn't
something that-
setting things back into your brain. It was just
No.
recording what was coming out.
with
No, but she's
that
just saying
kind of
block that.
technology. I want something that figures out where that is, blocks it until
Yeah,
I
we have
tell it to
recepting
go back
blockers.
on.
We have this.
And then do that.
We can shut off certain parts of
I
the
can
brain.
see that being misused.
But
so
yeah, that would be
fast.
so badly misused.
You
I
give
mean,
that to
imagine
the
a soldier.
government? Heavens, that's exactly
Take
where
out
my brain
everything
went.
else.
Wait,
I just want the critic, the internal critic, though.
You have to
There's-
develop this yourself and tell no one.
If we can develop
No one can
this
love StarTech.
where we cut out the ego and we give it to the government to give to the politicians. It cuts out their ego. Maybe we can actually get stuff to happen.
Ego
Can we
transplants?
Sorry, we had somebody
we
that
could
was
have
being
like a
patient.
generosity gene or something that is then not gene, but like
Oh, and we're crossing into
Impulse.
some interesting ethical dilemmas here.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is all
How do you
thought control.
reprogram a human being?
with a dollhouse.
You and your
Yeah.
dated
Josh
television
Whedon already done this?
references.
Thank you, Josh Whedon.
All right, Fedora.
Fedora,
Shall
I've been
you?
The
patiently
dollhouse
waiting.
never went
Well,
terribly wrong.
I have a wish list. It has 2 things on it, and they're both eminently practical for writers.
All right.
Okay? You
Okay.
ready? All right.
Drum roll.
The first one is something that would take whatever manuscript you had and format it for every possible kind of thing you'd want to do, like for any or all or every different, because they're all different. All
Add
of the
flawlessly into that.
Right.
Yeah.
Like Kindle and 5-star, and they all have different formats, and they all have different stuff. And I like something that would just take whatever I wrote and put it in their format. And could flag all the things that you have to take care of. But if it would just do the basics, it would be wonderful.
Oh, and
Number
like
two?
with the
Oh,
italics
go
and
ahead.
stuff, like it could change it to HTML.
Yeah, I definitely
and
want
back out.
an automatic corrector for things like italics and underlines and strike-throughs.
Whatever they say is supposed to do
Yeah,
would
it's
be
like
part
this
of the
format can't
yeah.
accept italics. So if you were using italics for thought, maybe you say automatically turn italics into parentheses. There you go.
But if you got them for each of the publishers,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
they
you
just did
format
it
differently for
automatically,
each so that the
wouldn't that be
italics-
wonderful? Brad, would
would
that be
be.
wonderful?
It would put me out of a job. Or I should say, when I was
No,
a
it
freelancer,
wouldn't.
it would have put me out of a job.
No, it wouldn't.
Because, well, that's what I did. When I was a freelancer, one of the things I did was of being a formatter was that I would change it into all the different formats for people. So,
It would free you up
but
to do
I
other
like that,
cooler
and I'm all
jobs.
for that because the idea, and to be honest, what would be nice would just be one format. That'd be super nice. Can we
Yeah.
get that?
Can we have a
That's
universal
standardized.
serial bus
Just
for
a
like this
universal,
stuff?
so I don't, so we don't have to do it 20 times over. But that would be very nice. I can totally like that.
Then you could be a real editor and look at what it actually says
Yeah,
instead
and
of
not
just
have to worry
the
about
format.
formatting.
Yeah.
So that was one.
That was your one.
That
Number
was
two.
one.
What was your second?
Yeah.
The other one is that I would like to have some kind of program that I could put on my head put on my head and whenever I thought of something that I am not sure about, that the Chicago Manual of Style would be right there, and I could just access it with my mind.
And it automatically updates when they change their mind
Yeah.
into different things?
Yes,
I like this
absolutely.
idea. I like this idea. Add on Strunk and White and a dictionary, and you got me.
And a thesaurus.
Yes,
you
a
know,
thesaurus.
all of the above.
Oh man,
Those
if
would
I
be
don't,
great.
I can
we
think of
just get
so
like
many
a Chicago Manual of
losers.
Style like checker on my word? Can that just be
Yeah,
like
like
the
a
purple
plug-in?
line? Yeah.
That would be, you know
like
what?
That should be the
Can.
purple line underneath it.
That
or
would be
something?
great.
That would be
That
fantastic.
probably wouldn't be that hard to
Imagine-
do. You could do
No.
it.
It would,
Come on,
it
programmers,
would
get
take
on this.
so many of my B's into A's if they would do that for my source, works cited pages when I was in high school. Because those
Awesome.
always
Oh,
screw
by
me
the
up.
way, there are programs that do that to you. I don't use them because, frankly, it's hard. It's easier. It doesn't play well with Microsoft. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
It does work, but it doesn't. It's not user friendly.
Yeah, well, nothing's perfected yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've only been at it for like 30, 40 years.
But I will say that if you have like over,
never be.
if you have over 30 references, over 50 references, it's worth it to go through the trouble to get it to work, because then, and when you like change around the order of your references, it changes it automatically.
The good news is I switched from research to production in college, and I'm never going to ever have to do that ever again. It was part of my dream. Ever again.
Go ahead.
I'm thinking now all the technology that I want is potentially military useful. Because I mentioned the medical marvel of
The thought control drugs.
yes. So
yeah.
those I would like to be able to turn off certain inhibitions Understand?
You know,
Just
the
to make-
moral obligation to not kill another human, you could just turn that off for any
But actually, to make you feel better, see, since these all have military applications, the military will develop them for you. Then you can use the civilian applications.
Which I would
You
be
may
fine
or
with.
may not be turned into a drone at some point while you sleep.
Speaking
Borg.
of turning into drones and Borgs, I want something. I love the holodeck. I want one so much.
That would be great.
It would be great for research purposes. Like, how would it feel to be in this situation? What would your body be feeling like as your character
Well,
if someone has been murdered
I think it
and you're
really-
trying to figure it out? Not done. Not done. There's that. And there is... In the Matrix, they could download information to your brain. I think that is a bad plan, even though I would love to know Kung Fu. But it would be very helpful if you could combine that with the pensieve in Harry Potter and inhabit somebody's body who knew these things so that you could judge whether a fight scene would actually work. I think that would be the coolest thing ever.
So you
Now
could have
you
like
make-
a David Lucas app where you just jump in.
You
I
too
want a
can be
David
that
Lucas
cool.
app. David Lucas app.
Two things. Brad, you also have your fingers up, so I'm
Okay.
going to just jump over to you as well. One, the Matrix part of it, let's download, which I know you said you wouldn't want to do this way, and I agree.
The plugs that you put in the back of your head
Yeah.
in the Matrix is horrifying.
But
Wi-Fi now. There are no
but-
wires. You just put a Wi-Fi thing in your brain.
in all honesty, downloading Kempo, Kung Fu, or any of that else, you can have a knowledge in your head. You don't have a muscle memory. There's no way you can do that. Sorry.
My favorite's when Trinity downloaded how to fly a helicopter.
Yeah.
Like, the specific is like, did you just download the manual in? Because I own the manual in my car, but heaven knows it didn't teach me how to drive it.
Exactly. And then you're talking about a holodeck, and I don't know if this is where you're going to go, Brad, or not, but that would be a whole new era of type of writing.
The holodeck
Well,
would be so
amazing.
great.
This
Well,
already exists with Oculus. So
not
it's not a
quite the
room
same.
yet. You're sitting, but Oculus is it's a giant device you put on your head. It's like these giant goggles, and it is you sit there and you interact with the world around you. You are in the computer world, but you're kind of standing there. And I mean, we've had this for years. Anyone who was in an arcade in the '90s played that stupid game where you were like shooting somebody in a virtual reality world.
Yeah.
But you know, this is happening, and eventually it'll get to the point where they can take what's right against your face and put that out into the room around you that you walk into, and then we'll all have Star Trek, and none of us will have lives ever again.
A thing I love about the
You
holodeck...
think WoW is bad now? Imagine when you're actually wandering around.
That's because reality is broken. Jane McGonigal book, done.
And just imagine
I'm sorry.
Star Wars Battle Pod. Go on now.
I was saying the holodeck is better than something like an Oculus Rift or whatever because you stand up and you walk into it. And you experience it walking around. You're moving, you're physically interacting versus the limitations of our current technology, even though the Oculus Rift is so effective by means of, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Engagement? Like sensory immersion, that something... video games that, horror games that would have been tame as kittens to someone who's playing with a controller on a screen, the minute you put the headset and the blinders on and it's actually around you, then, hardcore gamers wet themselves, drop the headset and leave. Because they've got their webcams set up for their YouTube channel showing them play this game. They literally throw it off their head and leave because it's so scary to be inside of it. I mean, we're getting to that technology, but as soon as there's going to be a point where you can't take the headset off and leave. When we get to that point, that's going to be something else.
Well, what'll happen before that is you'll get to the point where you don't want to take it off.
And then we have
Nobody
how many
needs to lock it onto you.
sci-fis?
Then we have human batteries.
Thank you,
Back
Matrix.
to the Matrix.
Now, I'm just going to throw this out.
I would like the amniotic fluid bath.
Not me,
Nice.
thank you. I
Yeah.
did that once already.
Just a thought, and I don't expect an answer on this one, honestly. Just something, as you were talking, Jen,
Yeah.
this kicked in my head and made me think. You take the holodeck idea. Now, somebody wrote the novel that you're walking through on that holodeck. But you, through your own choices, end up creating a separate storyline.
Fanfic.
Right, fanfic. Does this become the new version of fanfic, or would it be publishable in the sense that I could sell my fanfic and not worry about copyright. That'd be interesting. It's just an
Copyright
interesting
laws
thought.
would still apply to the scenario in which you are experiencing the story. Now, you could spin that story off into something else and you start a new program and write a brand new holo book that you could walk through, but if you run into Moriarty while you're in there, you're going to get kicked in the butt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and IP law will never change. So, we could all jump into the Harry Potter books and walk around Hogwarts and have fun there.
Or we could go to Universal Studios.
Yeah. But the point being, we could have a room where we're getting to interact with all the books and have all the fun like that. But even if I wrote like my own Harry Potter adventure, I'm still in the Harry Potter world. I still probably had to pay to get that holodeck, mod into my holodeck. So
yeah, it becomes Pottermore.
Yeah,
which is the thing that is produced by the Harry Potter franchise.
Star Wars will be the same way. You'll pay Disney a lot of money to get the Disney mod, and then you'll be able to go wandering around, through all the worlds and everything. It'll be awesome.
But the Gary's mod implications are brilliant. I can't wait to see the sim hacks for this holodeck world thing. Like, as soon as they find a way to go into Harry Potter world and reskin Harry Potter as Goku, it's going to be fantastic.
But somebody's still going to have to create all that. So, there's still going to be people like us creating this kind of stuff in the future, which is the good thing. We just might all be Josh Whedons who are creating our giant universes that then get popped out as mods to everybody's holodeck.
No, it could be.
I'm picturing Draco in leather pants now. That could be a mod that you do.
There will be a leather
and
pants
suddenly
mod.
it will be a romance sim.
It'll take 5 minutes for them to come up with a shirtless leather pants mod for the Draco model in the Harry Potter holodeck game.
Oh my god.
Okay, and back
away
to other
from writing,
toys.
though.
No, we didn't. We drifted into the romance genre. It was very different.
Yes,
We're
that's
into
true.
erotica now.
And then an aroma
no,
comes
that's an
out of your
extra
reader
special
Yeah,
as
and then-
he takes the shirt off.
Okay,
Smell
we're
of vision,
headed
it
down
suddenly
there.
smells like evil as he takes
Oh my
off his
God.
shirt.
I'm picturing now all those movies and TV shows where it's mandatory, where it's like in the contract for like certain dudes to be shirtless at least once an episode, and like going into those and transposing them. You'd have an entirely shirtless Hogwarts. It would be the most hilarious thing in the world.
I'm telling you, I would buy this thing just to explore the sim mod possibilities.
Yes.
And the voice line for like the somebody explains, "Oh, we don't believe in shirts here." Like it's a completely different voice. It's just hacked into the
spiced
dialogue.
Can you like
Hello is shirtless sim mod available to talk on the phone.
Oh my gosh, I'm picturing Darth Vader's voice everywhere, or Anakin
James Earl
Skywalker.
Jones mod.
Oh my
Everyone
goodness.
is James Earl Jones.
It's like you're in an old Bible feature. Like, like everyone is very, very impressive.
Oh, okay. As I think we've fallen off a cliff somewhere.
I had fun.
This is fertile ground.
I had a lot of fun writing fanfic about real life. This is great.
I'm pretty certain you come back in 50 years and we've just nailed it.
Theory, you're probably right.
Oh my goodness.
And knowing me, I'm going to be so like iffy about it. I won't try it for another 5 years.
You know, once they figure out how to do the mods in the holodeck, though, they're going to try and give people mods.
Let's write
like,
that Star
I'm
Trek
going to
fanfic.
speak like James Earl Jones today. It'll be amazing. I look like a tiny little girl, and I speak like James Earl Jones.
Yeah, and then at the end of the day, you pull off your helmet and you're back to just being you, and it's like,
Oh, that sucks.
Life sucks.
Back to the helmet.
I already
And
experienced
it's just a problem.
Well, that's
And
why
there have already been episodes done on this.
That's why I brought up Reality is Broken by Jane McGonigal. She talks about why people are so into games now, and it's because our work that we do every day is not satisfying in the way that it used to be, and games offer that satisfaction, that feeling of purpose. So I think if we could do some holodeck changes, some mods on Reality, maybe it would be different, but oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
that's a terrifying thought. Like your boss has you wear like some kind of partial helmet while you're working.
Ah.
It's
And
true
maybe
he
you get
doesn't
like
want
a
to see your
+1
face.
every time you do something right.
That would be kind of cool, actually.
Oh, wow.
Instant feedback. Like, should I have done this? No.
Well, knowing the way
You
the
have been
games
fired.
work, they're going to assume that the high score you get on, ranked on an online leaderboard is going to be enough incentive for you to continue working there, and they're going to be really wrong because they don't understand game theory.
No. You had your hand up.
Well, this has nothing to do with writing or any of this holographic stuff that you're talking about. Which is something I think
That's fine,
would
that's
be
fine.
really, really, really good is to have a little device about the size of a cell phone that you could take around to your various pieces of electronical genius stuff, and it would tell you what's wrong with which piece what was wrong with it and what to do about it.
Oh.
Instead
An
of
IT
just
analyzer.
having
Yeah.
who knows what's wrong with which part.
Yeah.
It opens up with, have you tried turning it off?
Exactly.
Yes, I did all that stuff and it still didn't work.
Is it
There was still
plugged in?
something wrong. Which is why I now have a whole new set of stuff.
I like the crowdsourcing medical information and medical diagnosis thing that is I hear exists.
It
And
exists. And
is
it's very good for
very
some
new.
things and very bad for other things.
Yes, but I would love. I have an issue that I've had with my hands lately, and I would love to be able to pick up my phone and scan my hands and have it tell me what the heck is wrong and where to go to get it fixed.
It's cancer.
Tricorders.
Thank you, WebMD map.
Yeah.
It's not.
In other words,
it's
what
not
we're
cancer.
asking for are tricorders.
Tricorders.
Yeah.
Because you want a medical tricorder that's going to tell you everything that's going on with you and let you know what to do.
Yes.
You want a technical tricorder that's going to scan the engineering and say, hey, you need to replace that motivator.
I want
I want,
Baymax.
I want
You know,
data.
I want the ability to look at the ground and scan it and be like, what's in there? You know, like, where is that ancient ruins? Oh, there it is, right there. So
Taking the challenge out of everything.
Now,
we
I'm
need tricorder.
I'm going to scare everybody here.
I just want,
in a second.
stuff
Sorry, I
like
was getting
that.
ready.
Ground penetrating radar stuffed into a little tiny device.
And this goes to where Brad's at. It goes with WebMD stuff. We're all talking about, we being society, are talking about going to Mars someday. Love to do it.
Not personally, though.
Not me. I don't.
I would love personally to do it.
Yeah.
I'm ready to get off a rock. But, in all honesty, for that to happen, you have got to have a medical database on whatever ship you travel on, and a paramedic. You don't need a doctor. You need a paramedic to be the medical officer on there. So what they would do is they would have a WebMD database or some kind of tricorder, which you're talking about. As illnesses occur, they scan you, figure out what's going on, type it in a database. Oh, it's cancer, or it's whatever.
Maybe you just need one of those bed pod things from Prometheus. So all you have to do is tell it what's wrong with you, and then it says, I can't work on you, you're a female.
Yeah.
Very similar. I want the sarcophagus-looking thing.
Oh,
from
yeah, for Stargate. Yes.
Go in, come back out 100%.
Yeah, I want to get baked well. Sounds good.
Except for I don't want the addiction that comes with that. If you remember, those things were addictive.
Nope, didn't get that far, so it doesn't exist.
Okay, yep, Daniel had that.
how I feel
Daniel had
about
that problem.
that.
He got addicted.
Got addicted to feeling fine.
No, you got addicted. It's something that sarcophagus did while you are being healed. He actually got his eyesight back for a little while. Anyway,
Can I get
we're
a mod
off
for
topic.
that addicted thing?
We're off topic.
Can
You
I
had a
get a
thing.
mod for addiction? I would love to not want to play Candy Crush sometimes. It would be great.
Just take it off your phone, it'll go away.
No, it came back. I took it off my phone.
Just inject
why
more of
it's
those
an
drugs
addiction.
you love.
Have
It would
it.
be great.
Do you know what got me off of Candy Crush? The sense of moral outrage.
Oh,
It got me off.
the malice got me off of it for a little bit. How did yours work?
When King Games decided that it wanted to trademark the use of the word saga in video games, and completely nerfed some other poor company that had already created a game called, what was it, like Viking Saga? Viking Adventure Saga. I apologize, I got the name wrong, but they were going to sue them for using the word saga in a video game.
That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever
Yeah,
heard.
and it pissed me off. I'm like, don't upset the chances of other independent developers because you have Candy Crush. No one is going to beat Candy Crush. You've won. Congrats. Stop stepping on everybody else. And I got so angry I deleted it off my phone and haven't played it since.
Who would trademark the word saga for
King.
games?
Who
King
would
and-
allow a trademark for the word
Yes.
saga?
It was they
Hello.
trademarked Saga and Candy and used in the word in games in a mobile
That's
game
bad.
context.
Not to rip Taylor Swift too much, but she did just trademark a ton of 80s phrases.
Yes, she did.
What?
Yeah.
She framed
Like
she
successfully?
Yeah.
yeah, she trademarked that sick beat.
There's a ton of them, actually. There's
there-
a bunch of them that she
there's-
just
I
there's
remember
something
one.
for
like
future
famous
toys.
That's
things.
disgusting.
You
Yeah.
go first.
The attorney app.
That'd
Can
be
I
a nice
do?
app.
Can I do this?
Yes.
Yes.
If I
no.
do this, will I get sued? Will I get thrown in jail? What will happen?
That would make me
I would
feel
like-
give me $1,000 and then we'll discuss it. Go ahead.
I would like one related to the attorney app. It's the stupid laws that are unfair to everyone app that doesn't let you do that crap. Can I trademark this? No. Just no.
Yeah.
Like, is it sensible? No. You can't do it then.
Patent law
Doesn't even
needs
go into
that.
court.
Yeah,
Doesn't
patent
even go
law
into
needs
court.
a revamp.
Patent law, IP law,
And
business,
copyright law.
personal.
Everything.
Yeah. Is this fair to the population?
We are
No.
overdue
Can't
for
do
a
it.
revolution.
Oh, wow.
Okay, I'm gonna unpack that.
That's after the live broadcast.
No, I'm gonna unpack that one. Actually, I reference that often because it was something that I believe Thomas Jefferson said.
Yes.
That when they were establishing the American government, they said they needed to rehaul it about every 9 years, I think was the figure.
Oh.
And we're overdue for
Yes.
that. I'm not saying we'll stage a revolution. I'm referencing our dear friend Thomas Jefferson.
Well, I
Sure
think
she
we are
is.
overdue for a revolution in a lot of the ways that we work. But that is political talk, and I'm going to just refrain from that.
And also writing talk, because a lot of the publishing industry, what ways can we streamline the publishing industry with
that'd be
technology?
nice.
That'd be super nice.
Oh,
That'd be
God.
nice.
I'm sure there's a lot of the people.
Okay,
over
what
in
is
the
wrong with
publishing
my
companies,
query?
so would
Here's
love
something.
Yeah.
I know it's not possible, but I wish there was. We've talked about gatekeepers, an electronic gatekeeper that could analyze something and sort of like give it a grade, saying, anything could be published. This will never work, by the way.
Yeah.
Just like this is poorly written. This is
Yeah, but when it tells me
differently-
something's not going to work, then I'm just going to push till it works.
Yeah.
Well,
Because
if it tells
don't
you,
tell me it's not going to work. I mean, that's just
Well,
someone
that's-
as
telling you
soon as
how to
it
write.
tells you that something's not going to work, then the guy next to you is going to submit that and get a
Exactly.
deal.
Yeah.
Okay, so if we're going to talk about that, one of the things I would actually love to see that could be just a few years out would be worldwide distribution of books.
Automatically?
No.
Oh.
For everyone. So, because right now self-published authors have a really hard time promoting their book.
Or even
throughout the
getting
world.
it translated.
Yeah, even getting it translated into other countries. Why shouldn't every country in the, there are 190 some of them, 97, 95, something like that, countries in the world, why can't they all get it in their native language when we publish it? It goes out, it gets distributed, right now this is the exclusive domain of a bunch of companies that set all these rules and do all this stuff. And to be honest, I don't really see why we can't just say, here you go, and let the audience decide what they want to buy.
Perfect example. Sorry, I'm jumping. On
Go
purpose.
for it.
And then I'm turning straight to you. Perfect
And
example.
Amazon could do that, sorry.
I know. Actually, they can't unless they aren't.
No, they won't.
A person I knew, I've lost touch with them. They lived overseas. They wanted to get an American print book. It's in English. They can read English, no problem. They would not get it sent over. It was not available.
There's
in their
all
country.
kinds of problems that pop up when you try and get a book internationally.
I want something related to that. I understand there are international shipping issues, but for ebooks, I would like, if it's in English, for it to be released everywhere there's an English-speaking person at one time.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to go to Amazon UK or Amazon Australia
Yeah.
to get something and then be like,
I will say a
"No,
proviso
you're in
here."
America.
And why
you
can't
don't
it be
get
translated? Why can't a Russian or a German
I think
or
the
something,
translation
or French or something
issue
like
is
that?
more people being able to do that. But if
Yeah.
it's in a language, it should be available everywhere in that language as far as e-media
I
is
second
concerned, because
because
it's not
I'm-
hurting anybody
you know,
and it's
I-
not taking any extra effort.
I read a lot of books that are published by British or Irish or Australian authors, and in order to get them, I could go on Amazon.uk, but they're like, no, you can't. You can't download
Yeah.
this ebook because
It's
you don't
obnoxious.
live in the UK. So instead, I have to order a print book from the UK at like 15 times the cost.
Right.
Or you can, what do you call it? You can download one illegally, which is cheaper and takes less time. You tried to buy it legit. You couldn't.
I will say a proviso, which, frankly, I support that, and I don't think this problem should stop that, but it is really a problem. There's an old expression: the United States and Great Britain are two countries separated by a common language. But the point is, this is true in a lot. There's basically dialects, and even though it's the same language, the words have similar but different meanings across. So I don't think that's a big enough problem that they should stop that, but
I
it is
agree.
an issue.
Yeah.
It's about money. It's about taxes.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's what it is.
It's about who's going to get paid for
Yeah.
it.
Just started reading a book.
And it won't be the author.
Just started reading a book. I've been wanting to read this since the 1980s. It is finally available here in America on Kindle. It's an Irish book called Taffin. And it was originally a movie with, or the movie was made originally from the book with Pierce Brosnan as the main character before he was ever James Bond. Give you an idea how far back this goes. And now finally, whatever it is now allowing this book to be sold over here. What happened in the last 20 years? Why couldn't I have read it before? Go ahead. That's my...
Oh, but separate but related to translation, this is, I think eventually we'll get a technological fix to this, but computer translations aren't yet good enough to translate big works. And just to give you an example, this is scientific papers are pretty much the easiest to translate between languages because all that matters is the information conveyed. It doesn't matter so much about style. It doesn't matter about voice. Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know what Chinese grammar is like, but I do know for a fact it is very different from English grammar. The reason why I know it's so different is because I've translated. I've been reading papers written by people whose English was a second language, who spoke Chinese much, much better than they spoke English, and who write English better than they speak English. But still, most of it was understandable, but the first draft sounds like it was from a Nigerian prince. And even the second draft that someone else had already looked at this, and they thought they were competent in English, it's amazing the mistakes they made consistently. It's like, this must be the way it is in Chinese grammar. And right now, Babelfish and the computer translation programs don't handle that very well.
They're super fun, though.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, they're a meme. We make fun of how bad they do their job.
But sometimes they get the meaning across, which is good.
I have a subject change that goes back to, I think, something Brad was mentioning. Something I thought Brad was mentioning. I want a where and who to query database. I want something that says, these agents are looking for these sorts of things. I want it to be...
Type in the search, I've written this. Who wants to see it?
They have something... I want something like Duotrope, but for agents and editors and publishing houses.
Okay,
Yeah, that's just a
kind of
social
exists
networking, like
What is
now.
it?
Query Tracker, if you go in and you if you join up, so you're not just doing and it's free to join. They do have a premium side too that'll do even more. And the premium side, if you go to the total premium package side of Query Tracker, then what you're really looking at is the ability to type in, I have written, I'm looking for an agent who does fiction and does mystery and does this and does that, and you type it in, and then it creates the list. And then you see, not only there, you're going to see when you go to that particular agent. Now, granted, you have to do this. It's not just auto doing it, so it'd be nice if Query Tracker auto did all this for it. If I could just type in, hey, I wrote a middle grade, and it popped up all the middle grade people, and then who was looking for a middle grade fantasy or something. But anyway, you can go into the comments now, and you can see which genres they're looking for. You can see, exactly, some of them have even put in, oh, I'm looking for this right now. I'm looking for a high concept, whatever. Mm-hmm. And then you can go through, and you can also then go and see comments from other readers who are like, oh, I just submitted to this person, a week ago, and I just got a rejection. It was a really nice rejection. Or you can see different things like that. So Query Tracker kind of does, you have to do the work and do the research and kind of go through it. And depending upon when this airs, that will be the March workshop at St. Louis Writers Guild.
It sounds like Duotrope, but for queries.
Which is exactly what you wanted.
It is.
It is. Yay!
That's exactly what it is.
The toys of tomorrow are here
Unfortunately,
today.
you're going to have to kind of, click on a bunch of stuff. It doesn't just all pop up.
That's fine, it's Duotrope.
But yeah, in the future, it'll pop up and auto do it all for you.
That sounds like something worth paying for, for the super premium.
The nice thing about Query Tracker is it'll also track your queries. So you can then say, you'll go in and you've said, I sent it to this agent, this agent, this agent, this agent. Here's the dates I sent it. Here are the dates they responded to me. You go back in, you're like, oh, I've already queried these agents. Let me go and query these agents over here now.
Does it make suggestions based on your previous queries?
It doesn't make suggestions, but you can go and say, I've queried this chunk of the list, so now I'm going to query, these other people down here because, these people have already rejected me or something. It'll track your queries for you, hence Query Tracker.
Uh-huh.
So it'll keep track. It's like a database you can use all of that for.
Cool.
I think it's almost time for us to wrap up. Any final toys?
I'm still wanting the toy of
R2D2.
being able to read our dreams. Yes. Except for I want to translate. I want to be able to translate the beeps properly. I don't know if I saw how the beeps are really translated video. Anyway, if you haven't, look it up on YouTube how the R2D2's beeps were supposed to be translated. Anybody else?
Final toys?
I still want Chicago Manual style.
I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna check Microsoft Word and see if it's not a plugin. I'm curious if it's not. If it is, I'll let you know.
I'm going to be on the first wave of Google cars, by the way. I'm going to be reclining the entire way into crashes.
Because you'll be nice and relaxed, so you're more likely to survive.
Just think about this, though. More than likely, they're going to hit you, which means they pay. Because your car, your car's safe. Your car's not going to be running into people. It's going to have sensors that go, "Whoa, that car's in front of me. I need to stop."
And the crime writer in me is now thinking about how and this actually,
it's going to be really bad
for getaway
probably
still
cars.
Does exist. This fraud was occurring here in St. Louis, late 80s, early 90s, where senior citizens would be stopped at a stop sign, wait for a young person to go start across, and then ram it so that it made it look like the younger person hit the senior citizen's car, so that it was the younger person's fault.
Yeah.
And they got the money from the insurance company. I'm just trying to think here how that would work with Google cars, because I can get
because Google cars will have everything recorded.
Well, that only too, but yeah,
I can tell you how to do it.
We'll talk after this episode.
All you have to do is, like Brad said, it has a sensor in front that'll stop when something happens. All you have to do is either pull your car in front of a Google car, or put some sort of obstacle in front of a Google car. If there's another Google car driving behind you. Behind that one. And when that one draws to a stop, then the one behind it doesn't have enough time to stop, and then that one crashes. And then you have money out of a Google car.
Okay.
Final toys, Matt?
Final toys, Matt?
Google, you can contact Jennifer at...
No, see, Google cars won't tailgate, so they'll always have time to stop.
Actually,
see, now you're giving them too much credit.
They're going to line up in a chain.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, I think
it's going to be like a human centipede by the end. They're all just
no.
smashed into each other.
Wow.
You know what? What toy I want?
What toy do you want?
I want Lucian's Library from the Sandman. All the books and stories by people that are finished that they imagined. Like, all the authors who have died with these stories in their heads are all finished in this library. I want that library, and I want to be able to just, put the stories into my brain so I can experience them faster than I can read them, because that's a gigantic library.
My final toy, let's see. I really want an extra day in the week. So if you could find a toy that would give me an extra day in the week that I could use.
What's that thing from
Time
Harry
Turner?
Potter?
We're going to slow down the
Turner.
planet's rotation a little bit.
Yeah, it's like just whatever, whatever can get me more time to accomplish what I need to accomplish. Everyone else has normal week, so that I have that extra time to catch up, because otherwise they would expect that extra time to be used in the deadline.
Yeah.
So it has to be a secret day in the week.
Well, right now we are
Secret
having
step.
leap seconds, so
Leap seconds.
eventually we might get to a full minute to a full day.
So you need a time stopper.
And on that note, I want to say thank you, everybody, and please, next week, tune in for yet another interesting topic in the writing industry. The new theme songs for Right Pack Radio were written and performed by Meredith Tate. All copyrights remain with her. The Right Pack would like to thank STL Books for allowing us to record in their bookstore. STL Books and Gifts is St. Louis's newest independent bookstore with an emphasis on fine literature for adults and children and the most comprehensive selection of St. Louis books available anywhere. Visit them online at stlbooks.com or in person at 100 West Jefferson Avenue, Kirkwood, Missouri 63122. Tune in next week as the Right Pack will conquer yet another pondering issue in the writing industry.